Let's also talk about the issue of politicians. Earlier on, you did say that you are quite pleased that you don't really know some of the names or faces that are in cabinet now because they're quite new to you and the Zambian people. But there's been a concern about recycled politicians over the years. Recently, in the previous regime, some people did complain about seeing some members of the MMD who were not voted for or who people didn't want in 2011 back in government a few years later, especially after the late Michael Sata passed on. We are seeing again members who have served within the MMD, whether it's under the Dr. Levi Patrick Manawasa regime or during a different period, coming back in governance now, starting with the vice president, among others. Is this issue an issue of concern, that fact that we're seeing people who've served before serving again, some of them who've also had some controversy around them being minister?
I think that is an issue which is occupying the minds of the younger people, because you feel that the jobs that you were told by Barry, if we fix it, are being taken by the old timers. I think HH is a new person in government, and obviously he has a lot to learn. What obviously he wants to do is, while he is in this learning curve, is to bring some of the people that have been there before, because their inputs, even if it means over a cup of tea with one of the ministers who has been around on how to handle the visitors who are coming from a foreign country and things like that, is going to be useful. I think out of the members he has appointed, there could be around 10, I understand, whom we are saying these are recycled politicians. But you see, instead of talking about recycled politicians, if somebody knows that Ms. Masebo is Minister of Health now, and we have a problem of COVID-19, and somewhere in your readings you have known that one country in the world where perhaps you have a friend or a relative or somebody you are with, they have discovered something to do with the COVID-19. Why don't you make an appointment? Because COVID-19 was not there when Ms. Masebo was Minister of Health a few years ago. This is a new thing. And I want to say that I do read a lot. It doesn't mean the older you become, the useless you become. In fact, they say that the brain, part of the brain becomes more active between 60 and 80 years. And I would mind myself if we are able to get somebody now who is 80 years and is able to tell us how to go about absorbing the young people who are there into, for example, agricultural industries or in small-scale industries. There's no harm with that, because mixing is always good. To make an omelette, you need different ingredients. In fact, to make a good omelette, you break the egg. You don't put the egg whole. And this is an egg that you have been keeping for so long. So I think for the younger people who are there, challenge these so-called recycled politicians who are now in government and say, look, why don't you do this better instead of doing it this other way? I don't think to make a good government, we have to go to the exercise like I think Sin Tembo suggested, of advertising. I mean, that is not the best way, I think, to choose people. Some people will bring certificates which are actually from Matero. They will show distinctions. But then when you know the personnel of what they have done, you will discover that, in fact, they are not able to deliver. So that might not be an issue for now. But I think the blending of the old people, by the way, don't call everybody politician. There are some people who are there because they are just technicians. I think a politician is anybody, to me now, anybody who spends time criticizing other people and producing nothing. That is how I would define a professional politician. The other people are just professional people who want to use their knowledge, which they can get either in the books or on the internet or from other discussions with the other Zambians to develop the country.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us in the Diamond Breakfast Show this morning.